There's a difference between a place that's hard to get to and a place that feels wrong. We're not talking about remote jungles or deep caves. We're talking about locations that actively resist explanation. Places where compasses spin, where time seems to stutter, where the few people who have returned refuse to speak about what they saw. Some are protected by military forces, others by sheer, unnatural geography, and a few seem to be hidden by something that doesn't want to be found. Today, we count down 5 mysterious locations that almost no human has ever reached. Not because we lack technology, but because something about them says, turn back. Number 5. The Yonaguni Monument, off the coast of Japan. Number 5 lies beneath the waves off the coast of Yonaguni, the westernmost island of Japan. Discovered in 1987 by a local dive instructor, the Yonaguni Monument is a massive underwater rock formation that looks anything but natural. We're talking about stepped pyramids, straight vertical walls, carved right angles, and what appears to be a stone road connecting 2 structures. The largest formation rises 90 feet from the seabed, with a flat top and perfectly aligned terraces. Some blocks weigh thousands of tons. The biggest mystery? No one knows who built it, or if it was built at all. Mainstream geologists argue that it's a natural sandstone formation, fractured by tectonic activity and then shaped by currents over millennia. But the problem is the precision. The right angles are too sharp. The straight walls run for over 300 feet without deviation. And there are what look like tool marks and stone carvings, including a crude face and what some interpret as ancient script. If it is man-made, the monument would rewrite human history. The oldest known pyramids in Egypt date to around 2600 BCE. Yonaguni, based on the depth and surrounding rock formations, could be 10,000 years old or more, predating any known advanced civilization in Asia. So why has almost no one seen it? For starters, the site sits in dangerous waters. Strong currents, hammerhead sharks, and limited visibility mean only experienced technical divers can attempt the descent. Furthermore, the Japanese government has refused to recognize the site as an archaeological excavation zone. No major university has been granted permission to conduct a full survey. A handful of researchers, maybe 50 people total, have ever touched the monument's deepest chambers. The late diver Kihachiro Aratake, who discovered it, believed he had found Japan's Atlantis. But without an official expedition, the stones remain silent. Every year, typhoons shift the sand, potentially burying new evidence. We may never know if these are natural steps or the remains of a forgotten world. That uncertainty is what makes Yonaguni truly mysterious. It exists, it's undeniable, and yet it refuses to give up its story. Number 4. The Door to Hell, the crater in Turkmenistan. But its official name is the Darvaza gas crater in Turkmenistan. Unlike the other locations on this list, we know exactly how it started, a Soviet drilling accident in 1971. Geologists were searching for natural gas when the ground collapsed into a cavern, releasing methane. To prevent the poisonous gas from spreading to nearby villages, they lit it on fire. 50 years later, it's still burning. But the mystery isn't the fire, it's what lives inside. In 2013, explorer George Karounis became the first human to descend into the crater. Dressed in a heat-reflective suit and carrying a respirator, he rappelled 100 feet into the inferno. The floor wasn't solid rock. It was bubbling mud and burning methane vents, some shooting flames 30 feet high. Karounis took soil samples and found living bacteria, extremophiles, that had adapted to thrive in the oxygen-deprived, toxin-rich, 400-degree environment. No one has ever found bacteria like them anywhere else on Earth. That means the crater has essentially created its own ecosystem, sealed off from the surface for half a century. The second mystery? The crater is almost completely unexplored. Turkmenistan is one of the strictest countries on the planet. Foreigners need government approval just to approach the region. Even then, you cannot camp overnight or bring any scientific equipment without military escort. Since Karounis' descent, no second expedition has been permitted. The current president has repeatedly ordered the crater to be extinguished, claiming it harms the country's image. But engineers have no idea how to smother a gas fire of this magnitude. Some proposals suggest detonating a nuclear device underground to collapse the cavern. Others say simply letting it burn for another century is the only option. As of today, fewer than 200 people have stood at the crater's rim, and only one has touched its bottom. Locals whisper that the crater isn't just gas, that it sometimes produces low-frequency sounds, like a voice, especially before sandstorms. Scientists dismiss this as wind harmonics, but no one has stayed long enough to prove them wrong. The door to hell remains open, burning, and almost entirely unknown. Number 3. The Lempäjänkangas anomaly, Central Finland. but it's not even a landmark. It's a patch of forest in central Finland called Lempäjoenkangas, and it's one of the most bizarre magnetic anomalies on Earth. In the 1980s, Finnish geologists were conducting a routine aerial survey when their magnetometers went wild. The readings showed a massive, perfectly circular magnetic disturbance buried about 300 feet underground. The circle is roughly 2,000 feet in diameter. At its center, the magnetic field is 3 times stronger than Earth's natural background. When scientists drilled core samples, they found nothing unusual, just normal glacial till and bedrock. But the anomaly remained. Ground-penetrating radar revealed something stranger, a series of concentric ring structures, like a target buried deep below the soil. No known geological process creates perfect circles. Meteor impacts create craters, but those don't have magnetic amplification. Volcanic plugs are irregular. So what is it? One theory suggests a massive iron meteorite buried so deep that the surface shows no crater. Another, more controversial theory proposes that the rings are artificial, possibly a form of ancient geoglyph or even a crash structure. The Finnish military became involved in the late 1990s and classified all further data. Since then, no civilian scientist has been allowed to drill deeper than 150 feet. A 2018 expedition by a European research team was denied permits 3 weeks before departure. The site itself is unmarked, sitting on private land owned by a family that refuses visitors. Local folklore tells of a singing stone in that area, a boulder that hums during the northern lights. Hunters report that compasses stop working within a half-mile radius, and that their dogs refuse to enter a specific clearing. Fewer than 50 people have ever visited the exact epicenter of the anomaly, most of them military geologists who signed non-disclosure agreements. What lies beneath Lempäjoenkangas? It could be natural, it could be a meteorite, or it could be something we don't have a word for yet. Until someone is allowed to dig, the anomaly remains Finland's deepest secret, a silent, circular whisper buried under snow and spruce trees. Number 2. The Gobi Desert's Singing Dunes, Mongolia. Takes us to the Gobi Desert in Mongolia, to a specific dune field known as the Kongerenels, or the Singing Dunes. The name is literal. Under certain wind conditions, the dunes produce a deep, vibrating hum that can be heard from over 10 miles away. The sound resembles a cello note, or sometimes a low-frequency drone like a propeller aircraft. But that's not the mystery. The mystery is that no recording equipment has ever captured the sound accurately, and almost no one has recorded it in person because the phenomenon is impossibly rare and unpredictable. Scientists from the University of Cambridge attempted a study in 2012. They camped for 6 weeks. The dunes sang only once, for 7 minutes, and the microphones failed due to sand intrusion. Since then, only 3 expeditions have successfully recorded the singing, and each recording sounds completely different. The leading theory involves sand grain size, humidity, and the specific angle of the slip face. But the Gobi's dunes don't match any other singing dunes in the world, such as those in Morocco or California. Here, the sound has harmonics, multiple frequencies at once, which suggests a complex subsurface structure. Ground radar has revealed that beneath the Kongerenels lies a massive, flat rock shelf, perfectly level, buried under 600 feet of sand. Some geophysicists propose that the shelf acts as a sounding board, amplifying the vibrations. But why only in one small section of the dune field? And why does the sound sometimes change pitch mid-hum, as if responding to wind speed? The few humans who have heard it up close, perhaps 30 individuals in total, describe a physical sensation. The hum vibrates in the chest, not the ears. Local Mongolian herders avoid the area at night, believing the dunes are the voices of trapped spirits. The Chinese and Mongolian governments have restricted access since 2015, citing environmental protection, but researchers suspect the real reason is the discovery of rare earth metals in the rock shelf. Whatever the cause, the Singing Dunes remain a one-of-a-kind acoustic phenomenon. To stand on that sand and hear the earth groan like a living thing is to understand how little we know about the ground beneath our feet. Most people never will. Number 1. The Lake of No Return, Myanmar-India border. It's called the Lake of No Return, and it sits in a remote valley on the border between Myanmar and India, deep within the Hukong Valley jungle. The name comes from World War II. Allied pilots flying the hump route over the Himalayas reported a small, perfectly oval lake that seemed to swallow planes whole. According to declassified military records, at least 5 aircraft attempted emergency landings on the lake's surface between 1943 and 1945. None of the pilots were ever found. The planes did not sink visibly, they simply vanished. In 1946, a British Army expedition hiked to the lake. They found black, still water with no plants, no fish, no insects. No birds flew overhead. They lowered a rope weighted with lead. At 220 feet, the rope came back corroded, as if dipped in acid. The expedition left within 2 hours, reporting headaches and nausea. The lake was forgotten until 2015, when a joint Indian-Myanmar survey team attempted to find it using satellite imagery. The lake is there. They confirmed its coordinates, but every attempt to reach it on foot failed. GPS devices malfunction within 2 miles. Machete blades rust overnight. Porters refuse to go within sight of the water. The few who have seen it up close, perhaps a dozen people alive today, describe an unnatural stillness. No wind touches the lake's surface. No sounds carry across it. One local hunter interviewed in 2018 said he saw something like a silver rope rise from the center at midnight, then retract silently. Scientists have 2 theories. The first, the lake sits above a deep volcanic vent that releases heavy, colorless carbon dioxide or hydrogen sulfide, cooling at the surface and asphyxiating anyone who breathes it. The second, the water is hyperalkaline or contains dissolved heavy metals, explaining the corrosion. But neither theory explains the missing planes, the GPS failures, or the absolute biological dead zone. The lake has never been sampled. No one has touched its water and lived to file a report. The Myanmar military declared the area off-limits in 2017, citing insurgent activity. The real reason may be simpler. Some places are not meant to be reached.